You're watching the Speed Journal, and I'm your host, Jeff Francis. With me is Benjamin. How are you?
Fine, Jeff. Nice to meet you. Hello.
Thank you. You too. We're in Stuttgart, Germany, at the Porsche Museum Workshop.
We are preparing here daily our museum cars. That means we are doing full restorations here, but we are also preparing our cars for driving events. We are driving on like small rallies. We are also driving or using the cars on historic races. And that's the place where we prepare them. So we have here specialists who were working more than 30 years with race cars, and they worked on those cars when they were new. And so they are still today, or again today, preparing those cars for historic race events all over the world. We have about 600 cars in our collection right now totally, and we are using the cars, of course, for our museum facility for exhibition. We are also having cars in the United States, in Atlanta, in our main facilities of Porsche Cars of North America, and we are using those cars for marketing and advertising purposes. But in the end, they are race cars and historic cars which need to be driven, and this is the place where we prepare them. For us, it's very important to keep the cars alive. Most of the cars you have visited upstairs in our exhibition are still in running and driving condition. They are not just museum cars. We are still using them, and that's why we need a workshop. We have 5 guys working professionally day by day on our cars, and that's the place where it happens.
It's important for you to keep these cars active and moving around the world. I'm sure that Porsche's current marketing strategies include their history and the heritage. Is that?
That's true, Jeff, and that's why we have such a large collection of cars. We are not just collecting cars to have them somewhere stored. We collect them to use them, also for marketing purposes worldwide.
Do you have any stories on any of the cars here that you'd like to share with us?
Every car has its special story. There is one car right beside me, the 935. We call it the Taxi. This car has a real race history, but it was then kept in Weissach in our development facilities, which are about 8 miles away from here. We have also a test track, a skid pad over there. And back in the days, this car was used as a taxi for special customers, for VIPs and Porsche clubs visiting Weissach. And they had the chance to drive or to be a passenger in this particular 935. And that is the way how this car was kept with the factory. It stayed here in Weissach, it stayed with us. And luckily, because we still have this car in our museum collection.
Now, I'm sure that there were some customers and clients that got some wild rides in that car. What do you think?
For sure, for sure.
Had some professional drivers
Yes.
at the wheel.
It was not allowed for visitors to drive the car. There were passengers, just as you mentioned it.
Yeah.
And they drove with professional drivers and had some very hot laps in Weissach out there.
Absolutely. Are there any programs like that that still continue on?
We have today. We use our cars for activities with journalists. We have, of course, journalists are visiting us here in the museum, but we are also using the cars on historic motorsport events, where journalists join historic race drivers and they drive together with a race car. The Mille Miglia was a perfect example where we used to use also a 550 Spider, for example, where also journalists were like drivers and passengers. And this is something we do still today. And there is also a famous historic race event happening in the United States, the Rennsport Union, which will take place next year again, where we also use our race cars for activities with press and journalists and medias.
So how many cars will go to the Rennsport reunion, do you know?
it's too early to talk about the next year's Rennsport reunion, but I think next year we will have a big anniversary. The Porsche sports car will turn 70 years, so
okay.
I think there will be a big fun in at the Rennsport reunion next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And where's that going to take place?
That's not sure yet, Jeff.
Not sure.
Yeah,
The last one was at Laguna Seca.
you're right.
Right.
Yeah. We will
And
see
then
where it'll gonna happen next
Daytona is quite a popular venue for that too, correct?
year. We will see.
Okay. So you're not telling me is what you're saying.
We don't know yet.
right.
We don't know yet.
I'll take that.
No, it's really not sure yet.
Yeah, good enough. Now, are motors built anywhere else? Is there a specialty motor shop for the museum?
We also have the department Porsche Classic with us here. It's not in this facility. Porsche Classic is in charge for customer cars. And they have many specialists who are working on engines since decades. And they are also in charge for our road car engines.
Okay.
But the race car engines are rebuilt and maintained here in our facilities. We also have in Weissach, our development department, we also have a small workshop there where we maintain historic race cars. We have that workshop there because it's close to the test track.
Okay.
And so they can test the race cars on the track. And the specialists for race cars, they are out there in Weissach, and they are working on our engines. But we will also have here in our facilities in the future more space, more capacity to work on engines too.
Now you refer to the historic race cars. Would those be not only Porsche's cars, but customer cars alike?
We are only in charge for our own cars, for the museum cars. There is another department in charge for customer cars.
So a customer has a historic Porsche race car.
Yes.
He wants to know that it's getting the best care, then he can still go to a Porsche facility to have that taken care of. Yeah. And I would guess that possibly motors, different components of the car may even be shipped from various places around the world to Germany, to your facility to be maintained or serviced.
Yeah. Shipping or transport is a important task for us because we have another facility beside this building. It's quite close to the museum. It's a mile away from here where our car storage is. That's the place where we store our cars, and from there we are sending our cars all over the world. And we have 2,500 car movements per year from that facility. So that means 2,500 cars are going in and going out.
Thank you, Benjamin.
It was a
Appreciate
pleasure.
your time.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I hope to see you again in Zuffenhausen.
We'll be back again, I'm sure.
Thank you very much.
All right, that wraps up this episode today in Stuttgart, Germany at the Porsche Museum Workshop. Stay tuned, we have more coming on our Germany excursion.